Welcome back, SethBling here. Today Mojang released the 14w17a snapshot, and it's got a bunch of new features. One of them is custom terrain generation. So when you're creating a new world, you can basically customize how the terrain is generated. What you're looking at now, is a preset called Mountain Madness. And I looked over here and I thought it was kind of funny. I saw a village on the hillside, and it actually spans the entire hillside. If I drop down, you'll see there's this comically tall building here, some more buildings down at water level, and if you look below water, they actually kind of go down, I don't know, to bedrock, which is everything down there. So you can do a lot of crazy stuff with terrain generation. Some of the stuff you get causes a lot of lag or lighting issues or whatnot. It's still very, very buggy, but there's definitely some cool stuff you can do, and I'm going to return to this at the end of the video. First, I want to show you some other features that were added in the snapshot. So let me go back to my test world here, and I'll show you some of the stuff that was changed or added. First of all, Endermites have a new model. They are a little shorter and fatter and, I don't know, sillier. So they don't look quite like silverfish anymore. This one's just spinning around as fast as it can, doing a little dance. Anyway, I don't think there's any changes to their behavior, but I'm not 100% sure. I didn't actually test. So here's a change that's mostly under the hood, but you can start to see the effects. They are changing the way that block metadata works. So you have orange wool, pink wool, green wool, whatever. The color of the wool is metadata. So if you look at the top right corner of my screen, you can see it says block Minecraft wool /6. So that's the block and the data value for the block. And you can see the model is cube and the color is pink. Although I'm not sure why it says model cube cyan. Let's look at some other wool and see if it says different colors. Cube brown. Yeah, okay. So that has to do with another bug over here. I guess they just mismapped the colors to the model, because if I shear a red sheep, I noticed I get orange wool. If I shear a lime sheep, I get purple wool. I guess that has to do with the mismatches there with those colors. But yeah, so you look at the F3 menu, and you can tell more stuff about the blocks. So this is stone, but the variant is andesite smooth. You can see cool stuff about redstone. So this redstone torch is facing up. The redstone wire has a bunch of different stuff. You can see for each direction it says sort of what the behavior is. So on the east, there's redstone off to the side. North, there's nothing. South, there's nothing. If I put redstone over here, you can see it changes the things. So it says north up because it goes up a block. And I think that controls basically what model it uses to render the redstone. But so you can see a lot of interesting stuff. Here's Ender Portal with no eye in it, facing west. One really useful thing is you can see on saplings, you can see what stage they're on, which is not something you can visibly see normally. So this one says, well, it's a stage 0 in type oak. Let me get some bone meal, and you can see as I use the bone meal, it's going to change the stage. Okay, there we go. It went to stage 1. There's so much stuff next to it, I guess, that... oh, went back to stage 0. I didn't even know it could do that. So here we're at stage 1, stage 0. Let me try grabbing this and moving it over so that it actually has room. Okay, so we have a stage 0 oak. Here's stage 1. And there we go. So I guess it only has one stage between placing it and growing. Yeah, so that's actually useful information that you couldn't get at before. Here's a door. Which half you're looking at, hinges on the left, facing east, open or powered. Yeah, so you can see some information about it, and it might help you figure out how to actually do interesting things with some of these blocks. Yeah, and then there's a new world border command, and this one's pretty cool, especially for map makers, but even for just vanilla server operators, it could be pretty neat. So world border, you can use set or center. So I'm going to open up F3 again. I'm going to set the center X and Z coordinates to where I am, 184.42. So that's the, whoops, I have to put center. World border center, 184.42. So now I've set the center to where I am. But now let's use world border, say 10. And keep forgetting. It's new command. And it sets basically the side length of the border to be 10. And so now there's this border I can't cross. I can't do anything about this. Well, you can kind of sometimes go a little bit on the outside of it, but it won't let me move any further than this. Now you'll notice that oh, I guess you won't notice that. Let's set the world border to 50, and it goes off a little bit farther. Now if I spawn some, let's get some sheep again. I kind of killed them. Oh no, I didn't kill them. They died. Okay, so yeah, I guess we did see it. But yeah, I don't know why they just died. Yeah. So there appears to be a bug with the world border. It's supposed to be if they're outside the world border that they die and they get suffocated. You can see I have an invincible sheep over there, but I'm not sure why they're getting suffocated when they're inside. I think it's got to be just a bug. But anyway, and that applies to players too. You get suffocated if you're outside the world border. Now, one really cool feature is you can set it to a value, but you can give it a delay. So it takes time to get there. So let's say 10 seconds. And so in the next 10 seconds, it's going to go from whatever value it's at currently down to the value I just set it to, which is 10. And so it's going to shrink in. And so you could very easily create, I don't know, like a survival games sort of border where the world is constantly shrinking. Let's set it to 150. Let's give it 5 seconds. So it's going to very quickly go away from me. And as it gets farther away, it kind of fades off. You can kind of see it right now. If I move closer, you get to see it better and better. But yeah. It doesn't really fade, actually. I guess it looks about the same. Anyway, so this world border thing is pretty cool. Yeah, it's definitely useful for all kinds of game modes. And you can also, I mean, if you set it really big and get really far away, you could have just a one wall that, you know, creeps in and forces you along, kind of like a one-way Mario scrolling thing. Okay, so that's basically all I have to show you, except for I want to show you the terrain generation stuff. So if you go to the Create New World thing, I'm going to go into Creative Mode, and you go to More World Options, World Type Default, Super Flat, Large Biomes, Amplified. Customize is the one we want. This is the new one. And there's 4 pages of settings. 2, 3, 4. Let's go back to the beginning. So you can change a lot of stuff. You can toggle whether or not structures are going to spawn, ravines, caves, just basically every kind of structure that shows up. Lava oceans. That's kind of crazy. Dungeon count, so you can like say, yeah, I want tons of dungeons. Let's see. Yeah, the water and lava lake, how common they are. That's just page 1. Page 2 is kind of the terrain, general terrain shape. So you can say what kind of height you want the dirt and gravel to spawn at. The next page is, it's a little bit technical, I guess. It says expert users only. But basically it controls the terrain generation, kind of what it looks like at a finer scale. So main noise scale X, main noise scale Y, main noise scale Z. These are like how, I guess, I don't know what the right way to describe it, but it's going to control how fluid or choppy your terrain is, basically. Depth, noise, scale, same sort of stuff. I'm not exactly sure what all these things do, but I can kind of guess. Now you can set like biome information at the bottom here, and the height of the world and stuff like that. That's page 3, and then page 4 is, I think, just the same stuff, except you can set it more precisely. There's a bug with the scroll list, so that sometimes when you're trying to scroll down, they scroll up. But yeah, it's the same information on page 4. Anyway, so I want to show you all of the presets. All right, so I didn't show you the presets thing. So if we go to customize again, there's presets here. So there's Water World, Isle Land, Caver's Delight, Mountain Madness, Drought, Caves of Chaos, and Good Luck. So I loaded up each of these worlds, and so let's take a look at these things. So if you'll recall, this was Mountain Madness. Basically just very tall mountains. There's basically no flat ground except up at y equals 255 or near that, and then at the bottom it goes all the way down to bedrock. You can see that very noisy, whoops, didn't mean to follow the way through. That very noisy stuff at the bottom is bedrock, and so it has all kinds of different biomes, but they all look like mountains. This one's called Water World, and basically it's a very high water mark. It's as high as it can be, 255, and so there's not really room for terrain above the water, but underneath the water, let me actually grab a water, what is it? Night vision, that's what I want. Night vision potion, and we'll be able to see that there's a lot of terrain underneath the water, and it looks kind of like normal terrain, and it goes down very deep. So that's, yeah, Waterworld's kind of an interesting one, although it's probably pretty hard to actually use. This one's called Caver's Delight. I'm not exactly sure why from looking at the area that I spawned in. Well, you can see there are some interesting cave areas, large sort of shaded areas. This thing looks interesting. Yeah, I think the idea is that it's supposed to have very big caves, and we just can't. I'll just have to look around more to actually try and find those, but definitely has some very cool terrain regardless. This one's called Isle Land, I-S-L-E land. I guess there's a fair amount of floating islands, but mostly it's just kind of very spotty terrain with weird stuff going on. But yeah, I guess there are a lot of floating islands. What are you doing, sand? As you look around, yeah, I don't know. They named them, but obviously they named them based on what they saw, not necessarily what we're gonna see when we actually load them up. This one is called Drought, and well, it doesn't look that droughty, but I guess this is supposed to be a riverbed probably, but it generated without any water in it, and then the grass is kind of overtaking the riverbed. So you can see it does kind of remove some of the water, I guess, but I don't know. It's I don't know if I would call this lush forest and plains area too much of a drought. And I happen to get a village here too. There's some like stuff over here. I guess maybe it's where there used to be water. Maybe this used to be like ocean or sea, I guess, and maybe that's not there anymore. So maybe that's what it meant by drought. I guess I'm not really sure. This preset is called Good Luck, and I think it's supposed to be sarcastic. The picture in the preset has lava everywhere, but I think it's actually just good luck because I spawned in this giant mesa biome, and it's not all mesa. I think somewhere around here I saw a jungle. I'm not sure which direction it was now though. But yeah, it's a huge mesa biome. But yeah, I don't think that's what it's supposed to refer to. I think there's supposed to be the lava oceans like we saw in the generator menu. But that's not what I'm seeing. Alright, so the last one I want to show you is called Caves of Chaos, and it is by far the hardest on my machine. It's causing a lot of lag. I spawned right next to this really interesting pattern of lava and water, and you can see it's like doing some sort of cobblestone generation thing on, but it's just like a really weird pattern that I've never seen before. It doesn't seem natural to me. And it's sort of like, what's this lava thing doing here? I don't even know. But yeah, so Caves of Chaos, very chaotic, I would say. My machine's probably going to die as I try and move around here. It's supposed to be, I guess you can see some gold in the wall here, so we're pretty low down. Yeah, this is actually the bedrock floor right here. So the terrain doesn't even try and cover that up. I guess the ocean floor level must be really low. But you can see it is indeed pretty chaotic. This one, I guess, is probably the closest to like amplified terrain gen. It's a really interesting preset. But yeah, you can create your own presets, and I'm sure we'll see some really cool presets from the community throughout the next days and weeks. Yeah, so I guess that's about it for Minecraft Snapshot 14w17a. If you'd like to see the full change list, I've got a link in my video description to a Reddit post with that. And thanks for watching.